Well, GM Dabblers, this is Kale Moody, your old friend here, community manager at Dabl Club, and it's my honor to welcome you to our next session of Agent Camp. It's been our real pleasure to help teach and watch y'all grow in your skills on how to build these AI tools of the future. This is not easy stuff, but we've got our friends Colin and Mel here as always to help us hold it down. So I've got just a few things to go through on my little list of shout outs and awareness here on the front end before we start diving into the code and working on building these things. So remember the polygon.technology/grants. That is a live program that's running submissions all the way through April for season 2. But this is a long-term program. There's 10 years of funding set aside for this community grants. So while we do want to see you apply as soon as possible and be involved in season 2, it's certainly not a closing door that you won't have a future opportunity to participate in. Just want to remind everyone that those grants are available as of right now for season 2. All of these links that I'm about to go through, I'll share these in the agentcamp.dev resource site, so you'll be able to check on these yourself after the fact, and we'll put them in the comments and share them here on screen just throughout the call multiple different times. So don't feel like you got to jot these down or find pen and paper, open up Notepad or something. Just want to make sure we open with some action items here. So Ag Cave is live for Eat Denver. That's why I've got the Buffacorn out today. We're going to be excited to be in Denver. We've already heard comments from many of the dabblers who are going to be making the trek to the sport castle themselves. And we're looking forward to connecting with all of y'all there once we're all in the same town. We have a survey that we're still handing out for Agent Camp projects. We'll make sure to share that. It's at tinyurl.com/lastagentsurvey. Again, these links are all live at agentcamp.dev, so no rush to try to get these typed out right now. Just a reminder that we do want that survey completed at your convenience. We want to see a diagram of your AI agent workflow. We want to see a link to maybe a GitHub or a Twitter or a Farcaster profile. If you have it as a Telegram or a Discord bot, you can let me know and we can see where we can go interact with it. But we want to see the work. We want to see what you guys have been building here lately. So please consider finishing that survey for us so we can check out the good work that you've been doing. Now I've got a whole bunch of community shout outs that I'm personally excited about. I have the best job in the space. I'm a professional friend, and my opportunity is to help activate and enable many community leaders. And so I want to give a shout out to the kids at Texas Tech University. There's a group there called the Web3 Acceleration Association, WA, and they're planning right now for a 2-month hackathon following right after Eat Denver. That'll be the Nexus Hackathon. We're going to be involved in that. Looking forward to watching them help activate the community of builders there in North Texas. There's a lot of passion coming together in Southeast Asia. Big, deep footprints were left in Bangkok, but not just there. And right now I've got a group going with 3 community leaders based in Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, and Jakarta. So if you're in that part of the world, rest assured that we're thinking of you and the community is getting in place. These individuals are well motivated, and I'm excited to see what we can help enable for 2025. We have another friend joining us today on the call. You know him, you've seen him before. Mateus Pagani is here, and he's got some good news about an event that he's helping to orchestrate. So I'll let him announce that here on his own just in a little bit when we go through our opening comments. Won't steal all his thunder there. But he did get first blood. He is going to have first blood for the season of community events related to Dabl Club, and I'm excited for that. But he has got a close chaser there with the AI and crypto networking night happening February 14th in Dubai. So we're collaborating with L Bank and Data Secure in that area of the world to bring more events to the Dubai community. Also looking at Abuja and Abu Dhabi to make sure some other things are happening in those different parts of the world. We are a global organization of guilds, and so don't think that everything's happening just here at Eat Denver, even though it's probably the thing you're hearing the most about. I've got tons of builder messages in my DMs. Most of y'all should have responses to those by now. I did a big old push yesterday, but if any of y'all are pending on any responses, I'm going to make sure that happens by the end of the day today, and we'll be all caught up, and we can work on any of those initiatives that you're looking for support on. And then shout out to Mark. I've got an email from Mark. I know he's been working. You know who you are. I won't have to totally dox him out there, but he's working really hard. He's got his agent ready to go and be deployed. He's looking for a little bit of help with railway deployment. So we might get into that today with Mel, but if not, we have a private session planned where we'll be able to record his specific issues, and we'll share that with the rest of the community. So that way you can all understand the details and the requirements to get your agent deployed using tools like Railway. That's it for me. So that's plenty of information. I'm going to pull everybody up here on stage, and then we'll just go through the room real quick before Mel dives us into the deep water and we get back into the code. But let's go ahead and welcome to stage good old Colin. We've got Mel, and like I said, Mateus is going to be joining us today. How's everyone doing today? We'll go through the circle. Colin, you want to lead things off? How are we?
I'm doing pretty good. I am kind of excited for the end. It's kind of sad to think that we're coming to a close on Agent Camp, but also very excited to announce that we have secured space and time for Agent Camp Denver and Agent Camp New York. So those are both a go. We've got Mateus on, who's going to be running the Agent Camp New York events. I'll be running Agent Camp Denver along with Mel. Mel is kind of the creator and the inventor of Agent Camp. I think we should all give some credit to him for putting this together and creating what I would say a curriculum without controversy, in a sense like, hey, let's build open source and let's use open source tools and let's learn together. Mateus has been doing that for some time with AI to Web3 Bootcamp. So he's done a couple of these boot camps in person. So I'm excited for us to also continue that thread and keep going into SF, which if you live in SF, then you know there's an agent camp just about every single day. So if you are looking for all those agent events, you can also find them on our calendar. We created a new calendar for Agent Camp today, so you can follow our Luma calendar. And also excited that if you're in Argentina, we would love to chat with you. So shout out to all our Argentina friends. We would love to organize some events down in Argentina around Crecimiento, which is March 3rd to 18th after ETH Denver. So one more time, just to plug our friends over at Polygon and the grant program. It's important that we get people to apply. And you might be on these calls thinking, oh, I'm not going to get a grant because I don't win contests, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't have the chops. Don't worry about that. Like, stop seeing the negative and start seeing the opportunity here. You're not applying for a new job. You don't have to quit your job or change startups. You can build your existing project through one of these grant programs. So go apply for them. And if you want some help or review of that, you can email me or message me on Telegram. I'm easy to find. I'm t.me/Polygon on Telegram. So you can hit me up on Telegram. And you can also hit me up on Twitter, x.com/colo. So I'm pretty available, and I'm happy to start reviewing your grant applications starting now. If you already emailed me, I'll get back to you. And also, if you are not going to ETH Denver, then I still recommend following what's going on at ETH Denver. But if you're a newbie, there's still time to sign up for Camp Biddle. So you want to go and sign up for the Biddle-thon. But there's also Camp Biddle, which is sort of like Agent Camp, but run by ETH Denver. So we'll be there. It starts a little bit earlier than the main event. So this is a really good opportunity for learning. So I highly recommend going over there. And if you're further along in your journey and you are saying, hey, I don't want grants, I'm not a learner, I'm already more advanced, I need help fundraising, well, then news for you, there is a club for that as well. So the Hadron Founders Club is a community for founders and builders and creators. They also are our generous hosts in New York and around the world. They organize events with us, but also what they do is they bring the best founders together to build a community and support each other. And they have connections to P2 Ventures and other VCs. So if you're looking to raise money for your startup, this is the place to go. Tell them that you got sent there by Colin from Dabl Club or Mel from Dabl Club, whoever you want to give credit to, but let them know that we sent you. We would love for you to go apply and join the Hadron Founders Club. they are going to be doing a ski house the week before ETH Denver. So if you aren't up for Camp Biddle and you don't want to go learn some more, you can also go and ski, like join the Hadron Founders Club. That's pretty cool that they do a ski house. So
I love it. All right, let's get Mateus up here now real quick, because these are special guests. We don't always have the opportunity to have you joining us, but we're always thankful for it. And you've got some nice announcements to share with some stuff happening up there in New York, huh?
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for having me again. Hope you're not tired yet. Well, we are cooking some things, calling everyone from Dabl Club, Mel, Kelly, you all help it with all of the groundwork, getting the venue, getting the sponsors, getting the scheduling all together. So we are ready to announce, let me post here in the chat, the NYC barbecue, Agent Camp. Gotcha. The NYC Agent Camp that is going to be held next week, Monday up to Saturday, a full week, partner with local hubs and local communities to get you started from zero to hero. Either if you are a beginner, like we're going to have 3 very introductory lessons on really the 101, how to set up your terminal, your node version and all, the first lesson. And in the third lesson, you're going to be working with LLMs, with AI agents and all. 4th and 5th lessons, decentralized AI agents, we are all of the good stuff, Agent Kit, Eliza. We're going to use maybe Nebula. We're going to use a lot of good frameworks out there. We're going to invite the best people at all reach to be there to doing these workshops. And in this Saturday, we're going to end with a demo day where all of the participants of the bootcamps are going to demonstrate what they did. And each of them are going to raise up to $10 million, right? Just kidding. Don't know. It's just the beginning. And we had great results in the past regarding to demonstrations and all. One of the projects we had in New York, the pizza delivery AI agent called Byte, got featured by Coinbase, and the CEO of Coinbase went there, ordered the pizza, and they're skyrocketing and all. They might be there. We might order the pizza with AI agents, super cool stuff. So if you want to be part of that, just subscribe to Luma right now. Be there with us. If you are not in New York and the tickets might be too expensive for you to fly there, I understand. I know they are. So we are going to be in Denver. We are going to be in San Francisco. We might be around Argentina, Brazil, or other places too, and maybe just nearby you. Let's ping everyone. Tell me where you want the Agent Camp to be next, and hang around. You're going to learn, and we're going to quick start your development career with AI agents.
Hopefully this time next year we have people flying nonstop around the world to go host Agent Camp in different cities. So
that's the idea.
Final plug is, if you want to bring Agent Camp to your town, just reach out to us and we will bring Agent Camp to your city. There has to be enough demand and someone to help host it. So you gotta put some things together, but we've got some talented people and teachers. But if you want to teach something, or you have a startup that you want to add to our show, we'd love to dive into your product and possibly use it. We'll be also doing a demo day, so you'll get your chance to speak.
I love it. There's going to be Dabl clubs and Polygon guilds all over the place. All right, so without further ado, Mr. Mel, you ready to drag us into the work today?
Yes, sir. I really do hope that you are following, everything that's happening from Dabl Club side. We are really picking up, when it comes to building and getting exposed to all of this cool tech, but it all has to eventually go somewhere. So what we mean by that is we want to see you with your ideas testing. We want to see you sharing what you're building. Otherwise, it's just gonna leave. It's gonna be there without, you gotta ship. You gotta keep shipping it, and that's how you're gonna find out what really is useful for people. And just feedback, it always is good to have your backline, have support, knowing that we can take a look into your proposals, to get into your ideas, into whatever you're building, and we want to see you succeed. So take advantage of these opportunities. The grants program is of course a great one. If you are able to attend in person to Denver or NYC, we will be running one in Mexico City too still in the planning phases, but definitely one of the cities that we will be leaning into. And if you want to run one also in Latin America, let us know. We can help you there too. So in all, it's just a matter of wanting to do this stuff. And if you want support, you will always get it from us. So please apply. Please make sure to reach out to us. We might take a little bit. There's quite a lot of stuff going on, but this is our main focus, and we want to see you succeed. So in that line, today we will be going through the evaluator for properly accessing the database and creating this manager to create this kind of flow information and use the retrieval augmented generation capabilities of Eliza to just test our evaluation and make it a little bit more real, in a sense. Keep working on our friendship evaluator. We will go very quickly first through the railway demonstration. I think that's a good one that takes 10 minutes and should be helpful for everyone. And from there we can start exploring. We're gonna start fresh again. Once again, I broke the latest things that I was working on yesterday, and it's just easier to start from scratch. Still haven't cracked at all like the final part of the Farcaster thing. It's taking us a lot of time. It's probably something easy, and this is just a part of the builder process. We do have some functionality with Farcaster. We can test that the smart contracts are working on the direct client. So for now, we can validate that our agent's interpreting the action okay. It's just that the interface is not working for us, which is Farcaster, but we have other interfaces that we can lean on at the moment. So in the meantime, we're gonna just pause that it's a task that we haven't completed, but it's taking a lot of time, and it's taking space in our brain, so we can place it on the blocked kind of a process in Scrum and agile development. Just keep it blocked for a little bit. It's almost there, but now let's focus on another task so we can finalize the full exploration of Eliza. And you'll see that a lot of times whenever we switch tasks and come back in a couple of days, it just makes it, it's just easier to work through them. So this is something that's regular on day-to-day development, and now it's the point where we need to test more, bring in more people who have worked with Farcaster and can help us and guide us through all of these issues that maybe they have faced before. And that's when you start looking on Discord, start looking with builders who have worked with Farcaster integration, just see how they are using. Maybe it's even easier than you think, and it can be just a Telegram message away. So anyways, like I said, we have moved the repository into the Dabl Club repo into our account. So it's the same as before. Just switch TroopDGen, which is my username, switch it for Dabl Club, and you should be able to access it this way. It will always be here, and here's where we will be pushing now all of the advances, the branches, commits, and everything that we work. Ideally, this should be public. I think so. Anyways, so you remember we have to do the cloning, the repository, and on my end, I just opened the code, the project on Cursor, and I ran a couple of usual scripts, which is the install one and the build one. And I did switch to the plugin agent camp branch, which is the latest version that we have working. And now let me check. I think I don't have the agent here. We can copy it from, and I'm also gonna need this one bit. It's gonna copy. Yeah,
Getting this all put together like a well-oiled machine, Mel.
Yes, it has to be. It's tricky because the build errors are things super crazy that are just too much of a hassle, and just cleaning everything up and starting fresh and making sure that everything works. And we'll see right now how we can do this deployment very easily on Railway. So copy I named this one the evaluator. That's how we're going to be identifying this on this one at least. And we probably switch to like a different branch just to keep a different version. So copy the character. I'm gonna copy my .dmv file as well. should be from this one into just like this.
So what are we doing here? We're just copying your project,
Yes, starting fresh.
specific plugin.
No. We're starting fresh from our previous point because the app keeps breaking whenever I do like 3 or 4 changes and need to start from scratch. So that's it. Just started from fresh, and what we're gonna do, we just run the installation, run the build, and we should be able to start our character right now. And I'm gonna show how to, whenever you do this, let's say you want to start, you're starting. You're starting your agent new, or you just clone the repository. I just want to show the railway deployment. So you doing the usual, just checking that everything works and everything is properly installed and the actions are getting registered, just to make sure that we are in the correct state. And now that we are in the correct versions and everything's working, the usual flow would be we're going to just add a small change here. It's on the git ignore file. Which we did on the previous session, but we hadn't done it before. See. So let's say you made some changes, you just cloned the repository, you made some changes, you added an action, you added, I only switched the git ignore, and it's not even been registered apparently. Status, it's not on this one. Okay. Git ignore characters. So you make any change, you have to commit, of course, and then ideally you will create a new repository on your own GitHub. So that's like the first step for deploying on Railway. You will have to create a repository on your own account after cloning. And let's just say agent camp agents here. We're going to do public and just create an empty repository. And after that, we need to push our current, the code that you just pulled and cloned into your local environment, into your machine, and all of the changes that you did, and you ideally are keeping track using Git. So now we're going to connect this work that we have done so far into our, it can be just, I just added my character. I created my own character called, Dabl, Dabby. And then you have this, or Dobby, yeah. And you make your switches, and you're like already happy with your character or whatever file you created for the character.json. And now you want to push it to deploy it. So first, you would ideally say you will have to add the character. Then you have to create a commit. Character. Then whenever you want to push this code into your repository, remember that we just created it. Here's where you would go to the second option. Just copy and paste all of it, and that should be enough. What these commands are doing is first adding the repository, the remote URL, which is in this case, I am using SSH, but you could very well be using HTTPS. So you can just switch that here. And this is, the address where your code is being stored remotely. So that's why it's called remote. Then we are adding this URL called origin, which is like a standard, and we are adding the address. Then we just make a very quick switch, just changing the branch name by convention, and then we do the git push, which is the actual command that makes your code be pushed into the repository that's on the cloud. So we already have, this is okay. This is probably something that you faced. We already have, since we cloned it from another repository, we already have a remote called origin. because you probably cloned it from this one, from the not this one, the Dabl club one, from here. So this is gonna be now the origin. Whenever you clone it from here, it always keeps the not always, but depends on the Git denomination. But by standard, it's gonna be origin. So what we need to do is switch this remote, and for this we're gonna use the set URL flag. And now we select our origin, or rather the remote repository name that we are keeping, which is origin in this case. It could be whatever you want, but like I said, it's usually origin. And now we're gonna add our address, so which is this one, or yeah, our URL. And after executing that command, I can see that I'm getting the proper URL, which is the most recent remote that I just created. And now I can copy and paste the remaining 2 commands to make it be pushed. This should work. And after this process happens, we should be able to see here our code in a bit. And you can also then in the meantime, while that happens, you should create your Railway account, or just log into your Railway and just click deploy a new project. And it's gonna ask you to connect your GitHub repository to your account, which you should do. And now we can select the different projects at your GitHub account. You can see that there are some stuff from Dabl Cloud, there are some stuff from Frutero. And now I can pick to install for my specific repository. I'm going to go through this flow. Let me check that the repository has been okay. The code has been pushed. And now for this, I'm gonna pause for a little bit while I log in using my double factor authentication for GitHub. Oh, have it now. And this step is just mostly about letting know to Railway which repositories you are giving it access to, so it cannot properly deploy. I think you cannot leave it all open if you want, but for me, it's just like better to just select some specific ones. So this is what I'm doing. Let's see. Let me reshare my screen. And what I'm doing right now is here once I have authenticated, it tells me about the Railway app, and I select here which repository I want to deploy. So I'm gonna select this one for this account, which is the one that I just created. Then I save, and after doing this, I'm just gonna be redirected to Railway. And here I can find that my Railway repository has been linked now, and I can deploy it. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. Whenever you clone a repository, by default, it gets cloned into the, let me think. By default, it gets cloned into the main branch. That's what usually happens. Now, my thinking is that since we properly created we ran this git branch main command to switch the current plugin, the feed plugin branch. We renamed it to main, and that's okay. I mean, I should have explained it before, and actually it was like a happy mistake. So since I'm doing that and I'm cloning it from the existing repository, if it doesn't matter, since we are like doing changes on our repository. So when I run that branch name change, it's gonna keep our existing branch now as the main branch. It's just like switching the pointer from one branch to another, and now that's the one that's gonna get deployed by Railway. Now, one thing that we missed is adding the .env file. So here's where you would need to upload your environment variables. So the API keys that you're using for your LLMs, the API keys you're using for Farcaster or Twitter or Telegram or Discord, all of the information that you're using to connect with external APIs. If you don't put them here, it's not gonna work. I mean, just the LLMs. That's like it doesn't have the support to run this, and that's number one. Number two, if you remember, we are running a different start command. We are not running the default start command, which would be pnpm start. So here's where we need to add our command, which we are starting the agent that we want. So that's another one. And yeah, those a couple of things. I'm going to add the .env. So I'm gonna stop my screen once again. .env from this one.
And Mateus, I'm curious on your opinion here too. What are the other tools that somebody could use besides Railway? What other infrastructures are similar to this for deployment?
Yeah, Vercel, Railway, the best way for you to understand what are the needs and all is like measuring how many users you're going to have, or what is the pricing, because all of these tools are very easy to get started. But then eventually when you have like 100 users, 1,000 users, boom, they charge your credit card like $1,000, and then it's crazy. So do you evaluate that before picking a preference? Because sometimes hosting your own compute instance in AWS and Google, whatever, can be the cheapest option. Like $30, less than $100 per month, you can host like thousands of users and with a predictable flow, you know. So I would say depends. This is not the best answer, I know, but I would say depends. Do evaluate it better. Of course, for students and small study projects, Railway is great, Vercel is great, you know, but pay attention to your credit card bills.
That makes perfect sense. And Mel, you can almost follow up on that for surety too, right? And that's exactly what Mateus was just saying there, how to scale your agent to many users. Like say if you deploy your agent on Railway, one instance of the agent responds to all users at the same time, right?
Yes, that's how at least I've been exploring. So far, I haven't had a lot of users, so the cost is still manageable, but it's a good point. Like definitely, especially the data, if you're gonna be doing that image generation, be careful, because data egress is usually what kills, not kills, but that's when you start seeing the dollars rack up. Yeah. Very quickly returning, so this is what we pasted, the .env directly into the raw editor, and once you paste it, you should be able to see all of the environment variables that are part of the file. And we also need to do, you know, this is building and that's fine, but we're gonna need to restart it anyways. And whenever you make a change, you're gonna see here that you need to deploy it. And we also need to add a specific start command to run the script that we need to start our agent, which is coach pool. So here we're gonna switch on the settings tab. There's a deploy section here on the right, and you can see the custom start command. And we're gonna kind of hijack that, and we need to run our pnpm start command that is including our character. In your case, these files should change into the character, you know, the file name that you put for your character. So just keep that in mind. It's the pnpm start -- characters, and you can actually start multiple characters here. So yeah, you could add just a comma here, I think, and comma separated the values, and that's enough. And I really haven't switched, you know, I think I saw somewhere on the Spanish version of the Agent Camp that they were having issues when deploying into Railway with these limits. So I didn't have to change this because I have always kept it like this. So in case that you're seeing that the resources are not enough, test by increasing this. Of course, keeping in mind what Mateus mentioned, that it can, you know, just testing and doing it for 30 minutes while you're like deploying and seeing if it deploys. Just check if this helps, and maybe that's an issue that you can fix relatively simply, even though it might cost extra. But just a heads up that could be an issue. Okay, so once we have changed the settings and the deployments and the env variables, we're gonna need to deploy it once again, so it actually loads this. Otherwise, we're not gonna be able to reach it. So that's one thing. I am also just very quick. I made a change to the environment variable for the Farcaster dry run. So I switched this to true just in the meantime, since we're gonna be and actually I should have set that to false on the railway one, because the railway should be posting. So we're gonna need to update that later. But for local development, you can select the dry run true. Also, if you're gonna do it for Twitter, and that way the bot doesn't actually post any. They actually mentioned the bot, so the agent doesn't actually post anything until you switch this. So we're gonna use this in the meantime for our development. And yeah, that should be it for deploying on Railway. If you see, it really didn't take more than 15 minutes, I believe. And it's mostly all about making sure that you have your environment variables loaded correctly, and that you correctly call the pnpm start command here on the. Doesn't seem like it loaded it. We'll see. It's probably gonna start just the. Let's save it. Yeah, seems like it didn't load it. Okay. Restarting. That's gonna be like something that might happen to you, and it does take a while to build and make changes. So get used to that. So we will come back into this in a bit. Wanted to see if there's any questions that we can review while we set up our evaluator in a bit, and also test this.
You're all caught up right now on it. I'm gonna bet that was where Mike was getting hung up on that custom launch command there in Railway, just because that seemed like that's a little unique. So I'm curious. I'll talk to him after the fact, and we'll see what his feedback is on this. But he's been fighting it for a couple of days now, so I'm sure he's going to be really excited for this overview. So well appreciated there, Mel.
Not a problem. And okay, so let's move into the evaluation, because we need to leave this cooking on Railway. We'll see if we get an error, but any chance, don't be afraid to explore the logs. But we can take a look into that later.
And actually, that would be what I ask you, with it being the dry run set on the Farcaster to not fully post, but that being uploaded to the Railway right now. Where will you check it to ensure that it's working the way you think?
That's a good question. So first, for me, would be just to just seeing that the deployment was correct, because or we could just. It's gonna post. I mean, it's not gonna post on Farcaster, but it's gonna still handle interactions, if I'm not mistaken. That might be wrong though.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out exactly. So I wanted to check if we had anything that we could take as inspiration for the moment on.
Should we rename our F around and find out?
That's also a good one. Yeah, I think so. So let's see. This one has a template. So this is one that we were reviewing last session. We can add templates specifically directly into the character files, and depending on the plugin, Farcaster looks for these kind of templates for the responses when handling cast. So it's a lot about exploring the evaluations, and we can place here templates instead of having to work directly into the clients, which is what we were doing for the Farcaster token launcher. The thing is, we would need to. We had the issue of extracting all of the information, but like we said, we're gonna leave that for later. Now we're gonna work on our agent camp plugin, and we are going to create a new evaluator called Friendship. And for this, we had created one before, and the reason why I'm starting from scratch is because it was like very bloated. It had a lot of moving parts that the LLM actually kind of hallucinated into it. And instead of starting from such a ambitious evaluation of keeping track of points and values and this, let's build it a little bit more step by step. And first, let's just instruct and start creating this templating and this prompt engineering of what constitutes a friend. And so we can start defining what's the friendship, and from there start really creating an evaluator that just helps us define or create the smallest definition of a friendship and how to translate that into code. So we have our friendship here. I did like the the framework for, or the reference for trust, for the trust evaluator, I think it's a good idea to, no, sorry, this wasn't, it's the boredom one. So I think we should create these boredom levels, and instead of, adding so much stuff, we could just create let's just ask first the LLM to create for us these we need to add a trust.ts and boredom.ts. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Here we need friendship levels. And here we can please add definitions for friendship levels. It should be stranger, acquaintance, what would you say? I wouldn't say friend, but like buddy, friend, and best friend. Okay, I like it. I think I'll change the points, but buddy looks fine. Actually, put buddy into 25, friend into 69, nice, and BFF 70. Yeah. Okay. And after that, let's take a look into our what else has happening in the boredom one. So since we're using the boredom levels, let's also create these values of what constitutes like what are some friend words. Friendly words. Friendly words. And I don't know if this is really going to not actually. What was this? Cringe words. Yeah, cringe words is nice. And unfriendly words. The thing is, now that this is going through this, we will need to create this kind of French provider first, and then the evaluation. So here, what they're doing with the provider for boredom is just passing the recent messages and starting to create this assignment to. So I think we can replicate this pretty much. Let's see. So maybe we should call this friendship provider in that case.
I'm curious, Mateus, what's your experience been so far building evaluators like this?
I would love to have something to add, but never tried anything like this. I've used agents with that. I haven't got this depth like Mel is doing.
Cool, man. That's actually really encouraging, Mel. You're truly on the fringe.
Yeah, and it's just I think mostly kind of trying to tackle the problem from different angles. So we were doing a lot of the technical side before. That was where we were mostly focused. But now it's working more on the psychological profile of the agent of sorts. So I'm calling this like social awareness or social provider, because this is mostly for social interactions. It's probably the better name for this.
That's crazy. It's so much more than just the coding part of it, huh? This is like a whole different diagram to build.
Yeah, definitely, and totally. And I think this is like, there are different ways that we can approach, and I got asked this question last week. How do you go through building agents? And one approach is definitely on the functionality part. That's mostly where we would be focused. But all of these technical sites have this evaluation, which is the really difficult part, handling the agents' evaluations and reasoning. So by injecting providers here, we're creating this kind of reference or framework, where the agent's gonna know how to execute, or we are instructing the agent how to process the specific interactions that are being held with humans, with other agents, with systems, and just how it impacts the behavior. This is where it happens. Like, if you want to create these positive or negative feedback loops into your agent and have it grow and learn, which is something that I think a lot of us are very excited about, this is the part where you want to focus on the providers and the evaluators, and how you bring this information, but not only bringing it in from, not only a client, but rather how do you apply specific operations, thinking of this as a process. Like, what are the inputs that you're adding into this specific input, and just altering the process to have a different output. And here's where we are executing it. How does the boredom and now this social provider works? So it gets the previous memories of the last 15 minutes, just like that. So it gets the previous interactions specifically for the room ID where you are having these interactions with the agent. And in this case, you're using boredom score, but we need to create switch this into social score, I guess. Social score. And friendly words. And here so, okay, the thing is, boredom is negative, but ours is a positive emotion. So that's no, wait. Yeah. So instead of removing, we should add points, and likewise for removing. Interest words, so it's +1. So I'm just switching the values here. And you should switch the boredom score for social. It should be just friendly words. Why is this never used? Okay, it's fine. It's not the last one. This one, friendly words. Okay, and social level. So it kind of randomizes the current value assigned. So, okay, just gets a random index, social level. So what's happening here? Okay, and this. Okay, let's go through what's happening in the code. So, we said that we were getting all of the previous memories, and that's where this runtime message manager interacts. So this message manager is an instance that properly handles all of the interactions of the agent and stores them as memories into the database. Rather, stores them as messages. And actually, the memories are messages. And I believe that everything inside ELIZA, in the knowledge that is stored as a retrieval augmented generation, at least the interactions one, everything that comes in as a message. So all of the memories are type messages, and just keep that in mind in case that eventually you face how to handle these messages, which is something that we were working on last time. the messages or the memories are stored for each interaction, each Farcaster interaction. So we're trying to alter these memories to include data specific to the Farcaster, or rather the publication, which has the information that we needed for the image and other stuff. In this case, it's different. We are just accessing information that's handled by default, but this is where you need to inspect, find out what's happening, and start altering stuff, which you would probably break something. But this is where, if you want to really dive into how to take advantage of this RAG and take advantage of how to inject or modify information that's been generated by the interactions, that's where you need to start looking into the messages themselves, how you construct these memories, and how you can extract information from these memories. Then it assigns a social score. Let's see. I mean, kind of makes sense what it was, but we'll see exactly what happens. The message text here, just get the context, the content, sorry, and looks for the words. Just pretty much looks for words, looks if there are some of the friendly words, and if they are, you become more of a friend. If the message includes a question mark, that's kind of lame, but let's keep it there. If there are some cringe words, you become less of a friend. If there are some friendly words, that's only if the user ID is not the agent ID, because from all the conversations that are coming from the memories, it's going to be, of course, part of the conversations that we have with your user, but there's also going to be from messages that are the replies by the agent, and you can also analyze those messages, and that's what they're doing. Also, like doing a reevaluation of how did the agent interact, and we're also looking for friendly words. If the agent is responding positively to the conversation, that means that they both are getting more social score. So that's what they're doing here. If the agent's the one that's not understanding, it's like the different side. If the agent's not understanding, then it's just less of a friend. But if the user is interested in what the agent has to say, then you detect that it's kind of wanting to befriend you. And this is very similar to what happens in the real world. Like if somebody asks you questions like, okay, somebody at least is taking interest in me. However, whenever you are like asking a lot of questions, this is interesting. Here's like some refinement to be done, because whenever you ask questions doesn't mean that you are uninterested. But sometimes when you don't understand somebody's like, what? Or what's this person talking about? Or who are you? That's when you start getting like these dislikes, or just like you. Anyways,
Mel, I have one question there. So I
Sure.
can imagine if I'm interacting with the agent and our individual social scores are going up or down, like that's my score. And so then if you show up and talk to it, you have your own score. But is the agent score the same in both of those conversations? So if I talk to the agent a lot and its score continues to grow, and then you come along as a new party and talk to it, does it start with its original score that it earned through my original conversation?
No, not at all. So this score, the social score, is being instantiated every time that this provider is run. And that's the only part that I don't like super, maybe I don't understand it very perfectly. But if this gets injected every time, it doesn't get injected. It gets its processing power. That's fun. So at the end, the social score is instantiated every time there's an interaction. So whenever this social score, what I mean is, this one's like ephemeral. This is just gonna be under the scope of this execution. So it's gonna get run and it's gonna get assigned, number one, per interaction, but of course per room. And this is where each interaction has different rooms. There are some that could be interesting to. I believe that each room is assigned per conversation. So
Almost like a thread.
Yes, exactly. It is a thread. I haven't checked the Discord or the Telegram messages to see if there's, because those are open forums technically.
If it's a real room in that instance.
Yes, exactly. That would be interesting. I haven't really checked. But yeah, so the social score is not going to be assigned different. Actually, it's going to be assigned different for everyone. So it's not like you did all the work and I'm going to come in and swoop in and get my friend. No, it's not going to work like that, because every time the social level then, or the social score per interaction gets assigned here, and from here it just stores, or rather than storing, it just returns. So the agent name is friend, select message. It's just gonna give you like, he's a friend. What's the friend name or friendship level? And from here, that's just what it's gonna, here. And that's where we're gonna need to say, okay, is this user interactor friend according to the levels? If so, that's when you start doing the function gating of sorts, which features it has and what can it actually do. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we're right there with you. And I think what you just said there exactly explains what Shruti was interpreting there. So it's more like a user-agent relationship interaction score for that particular interaction.
Correct.
Got it.
Very nice. Somebody's on that door.
Okay, he's answered the door real quick. Got it. And I think I remember seeing like a 15-minute evaluation for the time span that it was judging the memories by, with which to help determine that score. So this makes sense now. It's a temporary thing. It just happens in that moment.
Yeah, just a quick observation. The room ID gets reset. Actually, you get a new ID every time you create a new chat. So at the same time, you can be a friend or an enemy of the same AI agent, because they don't know that you are the same person when interacting with the new room, right?
That makes perfect sense. So that's also gives you the ability to like test different behavioral conversation pathways and whatnot. This is a whole nother can of worms here, Colin. Now we got to teach agents how humans work.
We should help them to give IDs to people, because when we call by name, there are a lot of people with the same name, so they get confused a lot. There's a lot of hallucination because of this.
Oh, really? Didn't think about that. We do have a limiting factor in our design of humanity, where our identity is linked to some identity for, name, phone number, social security number. So we're gonna actually bring in the next couple weeks, we're gonna bring in Privado.id, and they actually have a really cool solution for identity for AI agents. And I think if you have a solution, or you have a project in this space and you want to tell us about it, please tell us about it. But like I was struggling with this problem with my agent. I wanted to give my agent its own agency, right? Give it its own, you can go, there's a cool startup, Otoko, that lets you go and start your own on-chain company with the click of a button, and it creates a Delaware corporation. So you could effectively, with Otoko, you could give a ownership of a agent to a company that's a DAO that's completely programmable. So you have this idea of okay, I can actually create real world companies that own an agent. And you see in some of the other areas, an agent is entirely owned by an NFT, right? So whoever holds the NFT can make changes to the agent. And I would say most agents today are not really decentralized, because any one person could go, the dev can go and make changes and change things. And that's important. We need that iteration. So, but how do you move from a single dev owning a GitHub repository, or a team organization GitHub that's managed by an admin, to how do you own the rights to that GitHub, or own the rights to change what's on chain? So Privado's a pretty cool solution. So we're going to dive into this in our next iteration of Agent Camp, probably in New York and Denver.
I like it. We've been seeing some chatter in the Telegram of people starting to connect the dots between ZK and agent work. So yeah, it's a nice natural progression. Hey Mel, what do you think about this comment here from Trudy? Their agent's LLM is hallucinating and remembering them. They're not able to get rid of it until they flush it by creating a new API key.
Interesting. And I wanted to touch on that point from Mateos. At least from my explorations on the identification of the agent and knowing if they know somebody else, there seems to be, it's true, if you interact number one on Farcaster and then you interact on Twitter or Discord, it's not gonna remember you. That's one thing that it does keep track of, that the rooms one way. However, I have asked a couple of agents that we're testing on some in a couple of, the first agent that I did, the Gente Burrito, on the Nouns Amigos community, and this one's kind of following a couple of people that I know that have been interacting with it. I don't know exactly how it's keeping track of them, because there's no like evaluation, but it's not really hallucination. Of course, the agent's storing this information somewhere. It's just a matter of finding where. That's the cool part.
It's a totally different thing than hallucination. The persistent memories, that's the ghost in the shell. That's wild.
Yes, it does store the memories. So
yeah, but this is dangerous, right? Imagine if you chat with an agent about like your life, about, hey, I'm going to buy a gift for my wife, and now then someone else can get this information from the agent. Crazy,
100%, right? 100%. Yes,
it does raise privacy issues, which we also need solutions to, right? How do we protect our data that's going into the AI? A lot of companies have stopped using OpenAI for that reason, and they're afraid to use different DeepSeek models, even though that's like it's open source. So.
Yeah. Have you seen Venice just launch it? Okay,
yeah.
Not the top, but
there's a lot of interesting private. I built a private AI website for ChatGPT wrapper that would hide all of your information. So maybe we'll do a session on how to build your own private version of ChatGPT. That would be a good task. So maybe we can incorporate with the agent. Give the agent privacy powers. Yeah,
it's going to be valuable. It looks like you talked right into Shrudi's circumstance. They're interacting it within Discord, so it has memory of the whole room. So that's why it's staying persistent.
At some point, we could start social engineering those AI agents to give me sensitive information from other people.
That's actually a good idea for a hackathon project. How could you incorporate privacy into the rack? And I don't think it's super hard, especially if you have just some kind of encryption, decryption. Just hash it in the meantime, and check if you can unhash it if and only if the message, the agent, the user or the room ID corresponds to the room ID. Maybe, but the bad part is, on the embeddings, on the vector, like how it gets stored, it will be hashed. So there will be no way for you could do it with CK proofs, I guess. That's a good idea for like jamming on privacy and agents. We'd love to see anyone tackling that and just go through like your process of how you would do it. Just these quick 10 minutes is very enticing.
All right. So what's the next step here?
So we were working on, this is not it. This is the evaluator, and we have it ready. We were talking about the levels that it all boils down to. At the end, whenever this provider is run, it returns the messages. Replace the social level status. All of this is generated into social friendship levels. Just wanted to check something very quick. Status messages, social level. Where did the status messages get? Okay. So as you see, what gets sent back as part of all of these provider is one of these from all the levels, one of the random status messages. So if this is a stranger, the agent's gonna say, just understand that maintains a personal distance, and here's where you can say avoid interactions, and it's never gonna interact with a stranger, because this is gonna get returned as part of the provider. And it's probably here in the core that you can look for the processing of the messages and the providers, and they all get executed, and at the end this gets injected into, okay, so this is a stranger, you shouldn't talk to it, or this is your best friend, you can give it your wallet address, or you can transfer it to it tokens, you can allow this user to interact with these actions, And let's see, we can try that. So now that we have the provider, let's test our provider. This friendship, we're not gonna use it in the meantime. Just gonna keep it there. And we can start our agent now. Just we're missing a couple of things. We need to export this provider. So we call this social provider. Make sure we have it here. And I don't know if I need to put it here. Just gonna do it just in case. So now we have the social provider, and let's just make sure. I don't think this is gonna be logged out. Just want to put it in case that it does, so we can see what happens, right? So it's gonna happen for each current console log, current and there we go. And remember, whenever we do this, we need to we're not installing anything new, we're not adding any dependency, we just created new code, so we can just run the build command, and we should only see one new task being created instead of the because we have 87 cache. That's good. Then we can start our client. Perfect. And I was checking also previously very quickly if our agent was deployed, and I also switched the dry run so we can see if the agent's being is working properly on the production link. After that, after running the build, yeah, so we ran the build, we ran the start, and over here I want to see first if we are getting any kind of friendship evaluations. So let's take a look first at the beginning after running the start command and see if we can detect anything new. Okay, the .env file is fine. Loading the character, our database, our agent. So here it's not an action, so we should, that's okay. It's not gonna appear here. Just want to see if there's any initialization being shown. I don't think there is. Okay. And we're not getting any console log for these evaluations. I wanted to see if we got something.
If I remember correctly, Mel, was there like a 15-minute like evaluation window for the messages for the friendship?
Actually, the 15-minute window, if I'm not mistaken, it was related to getting the previous messages. However, the providers are always run in each interaction. So there are ways to avoid running them, I guess. But in short, if we see the core, here's what happens. So the only thing that is the 15 minutes ago is used for is for getting the previous messages. So start 15 minutes ago. Yeah. So what's gonna happen is this provider is constrained by the time. So each 15 minutes, your social score is gonna kind of be reset. Mm-hmm. Like if you give it a 15-minute cooldown, you're gonna start.
It's lost. It's lost its memory at that point.
Yes, because it's not that it's lost its memory. We can actually
no longer evaluating its memory.
Yeah, we can just remove this, and that's gonna keep track of everything forever. That's cool. So, but the bad thing is every time that you get injected, it's gonna bring in all of the. So we could just add or ask it to bring the last 20 conversations from the point that we stopped talking. Say something. But yeah, so let's see if we can start the client here locally, so we can interact, and we can also do some debugging on what's happening here. Interesting. So this is the dry run. I guess that it's not interacting with Farcaster right now. This instance, in case that anyone's testing also on the production, because the production one is working. Okay, so I don't see anything specific here for the provider, but let's see. Hey there, do you have any friends? And who knows, maybe, I mean, since this is a new one, it's gonna be fresh. Okay. And do you like blockchain? Just trying to make friends, right? I saw that somebody mentioned that they were exploring the database to check for their own users and keeping track of them. And honestly, I hadn't checked if there's like a script that we can run to run a studio or something for the SQLite, or just accessing directly the SQLite file. I don't know. If there's like a UI, it would be great. If not, just let us know. That would be cool to know as well. Maybe it's I want to see very quickly. I don't see anything specific, so no. Not that I catched. Anyways, so for some reason this is executing wallet address. Did it give me its wallet address? Didn't ask for it. Get wallet address. Anyways, what's my friendship score? Okay, so here it got like so I got 2 on the first message, then 1 point, then 0 points, then -1, then 0 again for each of the interactions. Now, I don't know exactly which ones are which, but
perfecting the system is its own task for sure, but at least now you're able to demonstrate the provider and evaluator in action.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so now that the provider, we have this kind of injecting this friendship score or social score directly into the chat, to the interactions with the user. And now from those from these levels, these friendship levels that are being generated and being injected, let's see if we can then add here to our friendship evaluator. This is where we need to take. So right now what we are going to do is we're going to start storing these interactions with their friendship levels into the database. So now is where we are going to keep this long track of, is this person a friend or not? Because in an interaction of 15 messages, we're never going to get to BFFs, which we set a score of 88. So there's already a 20 messages limit, and you can only add 1 by 1. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to replicate the trust.
That's 20 messages is the limit that you can ordain in there, or could you maybe this is a limitation, like this is just looking at the recent messages in that chat, right?
Exactly. Yes, it's a completely self-imposed limit, as well as the point from where it starts. But
I wonder if what happens if you pump it up to 2,000 and you absorb a whole message. We don't need to test it right now, but it'd be interesting to see how much data. Just like you were saying about privacy, it's like sometimes when you're talking, you don't necessarily know that it's going to be incorporated into an AI. So, but it could be super useful if it can look at. I think the most common thing in Discord is everyone asks the same question 100 times, and so people have a job of just repeating the answers. So save a lot of time if the AI already knows all the answers from past questions.
Definitely, but I would say don't do it here. Don't do it directly on the providers, because if not, this is gonna get injected every time into your LLM. So this is where the context can get very big, and it's not necessary to bring all of the 2000. Instead, the approach that would be suggested is just store per each interaction or per each yes, I guess every hour you could do this. I mean, depends, just trying to be efficient, but for us right now, we're gonna just store in a traceable object, in a traceable database model. We're going to store these evaluations of friendship. So instead of having to bring in, well, in your case, your pain point is different, right? It's like these questions are always the same, so you can train very specifically the agent on doing X or Y. But for it to, for example, evaluate which are the questions that are asked, this is a different approach. It's not only about which questions are more asked and what needs to be responded, but actually reframing into the agent needs to read the messages that are happening, start keeping track of the most frequently asked questions. How does that happen? That's where the evaluation really comes in. And then how do you select this evaluation and then store them into the database? So now you actually have a database a table of the specific questions that the agent decided that they were going to be the frequently asked questions. So how do we do that? And that's a very good starting point into the evaluation. So the way, for example, that the Solana plugin works is it does this by evaluating with the trust evaluator. The trust evaluation consists basically in a prompt that gets injected once it detects that an evaluation needs to happen. It can be triggered, and we'll see how this evaluator gets brought into this whole part, and that's where the should process template comes in. The evaluators are gonna be executed if this should process template responds with a true or false. If it's a true, then it comes in. If it's false, it just ejects from the evaluation. These format recommendations is just like how to process the recommendations, which are memories, which are messages. And the recommendation template, this is properly what this is doing is using the trust evaluation to store recommendations. In our case, would be using, for example, for the Discord one, using the frequently asked questions evaluation template to detect frequently asked questions. So should process is maybe something would go like, has this question been asked X amount of times in the last X period of time? And if it's true, you should say here true. Then here's where you define how this evaluation happens. And if it's true, then you start defining how are we going to start to store this frequently asked question. In other words, how does the database table look for this specific object that you want to store? And then you do the handler. So here's what they are doing is composing the state, getting some information for the context. And remember, whenever you want to inject a processing template or do some prompt engineering into the agent, you need to compose context, because that's the way that you add your latest instructions, which like this, into the existing state. So remember, LLMs, the way they work, they place a lot of more weight, at least how they work right now. They place a lot more weight on the last messages that you sent to it. So here, when we do this, our should process template is going to come in and be like, hey, out of all these messages, just this is the latest one, and process this and check if we should execute or not this handler. This is pretty much what's happening here. And it's also like getting, sorry, I think I skipped something. let's get into here. Okay, yeah. So here's where the should process template is evaluated of sorts. This gets sent to the LLM. And then we call this generate true or false because we're injecting at the end of the should process template, we're injecting a Boolean. And this function call is created, the code is done just to return you a true or false according to all of the information that is present for the agent or the LLM. The LLM was gonna generate a footer here, and you can take a look to see how this Boolean footer gets executed here in the ElizaOS core. This is part, to let the LLM answer at the end, yes or no. And this is how you get this process evaluated. Should it be processed? We generate the yes or no, and if it's not, we escape. We return an empty string, an empty array, because that's how we are using this evaluator to get recommendations as an array of objects. And this is how you should think about storing information into a database of the agent. You should, especially if they're going to be multiple records, you should store them as arrays. And whenever we send them, we usually send them as a JSON object. So that's how, if you go into the recommendation template and see how this specific task of generating recommendations is executed, this is executed as a JSON object, and we have to return an array. So, this is not super important. You can create your own definition, but just so you know why we're doing it like this, this is like the usual way to do it. This is just another representation of the database table that you're going to be generating. And here's where you define the fields and the types of each field. If you've worked with databases, this should be fairly straightforward. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. That's why we don't return recommendations. We do this empty string. But in short, if we should process it, what it does is gets the recommendations from this memory, from this table. And this is why we start thinking about these objects being stored as database records, because they are stored as database records properly. And you can create and manipulate tables like this, calling the memory manager. Here it's creating a new memory manager for a table name called recommendations. If you create another plugin that's going to be accessing this same table, it's going to access the same table for, even if it's different plugins. So if you have a post from Twitter and posts from Farcaster, and you try to put them all both in posts, or maybe the Farcaster client is storing them as posts, you're going to be like putting two different things maybe together. Maybe you want to do it. Just keep in mind that it's the same database for all plugins. And after getting, instantiating this recommendation manager, it's going to go and ask for it to get all of the memories of the recommendations that this user, or in this thread that we are having in this channel, has done, and up to 20, and then evaluate from the recommendations, like get them, extract them using the recommendation template, and generate this object. Because what it's gonna do in this specific case, it takes shields and FOD and whatever kind of token recommendations you want to give to the agent, and it's gonna compare them into how you are, evaluate if you are a good trader or not. And from those recommendations, decide how it should store your next recommendation, and if it should do anything specific with that recommendation, like buying, or like, you're a good trader and you ask the agent to buy X token, it might follow your lead, because it's gonna have a high trust score from your recommendations. That's how it's generating the score. In our case, we are generating the friendship based on conversations. But what if we wanted to create something specific? Like, here is very, very clear. A recommendation is an external definition. However, for us, our friendship, we're gonna store, instead of recommendations, we're gonna store friendship scores, just to keep a track of how our usual interactions with the user are, and keep this kind of friendship reference for the agent to handle each time that the agent interacts with specific user. So that's what we're gonna store. And here it just does a kind of more of the logic specific for recommendations. Here it first gets like the recommendations that are already known or corrupted. So it just takes new recommendations into account. We could do something like this similar, but I don't think it's required. And if everything looks there's a new recommendation here, it executes a more specific process that's been created. And this is where if you check this trust score database, they are creating a whole new different object for these trust scores. And that's why they are not relying necessarily on the database manager that we saw for the memories, for example, because here they are doing a much more specific implementation for the database. They are using they're still using SQLite, but since they are not storing messages, they are storing recommenders, they are storing token performances, and so they need more information than what the regular database manager uses. So that's why they created this whole new adapter. We don't have to go through that way, unless you want to. But for us, it's gonna be, yeah, of course, because honestly, I haven't touched this, so I wouldn't know how hard or easy it is. I'm not a database admin or anything like that. That backend, I would say, is like one of my areas of opportunity. However, if you want to go that way and see what's happening, I do suggest that you take a look into the adapter that they created, because it's very interesting to see how to create more complex storage objects instead of just memories.
Complex for sure. This is definitely getting now we're like expanding into so many different thought processes here.
Yeah.
Let me steal a minute from you here. Mateus has got to take off here, so I just want to give him opportunity to say goodbye real quick and give us our reminder for when is this Agent Camp New York kicking off here, Mateus? When are we ready to see the next step?
Good. If you're in New York, check out this link. It's starting next week. We're going to start with some more introductory lessons, 2 or 3, just to get you started on coding, on AI agents, LLMs, and why do you need to worry about context and blah, blah, blah. So 3 days for you to get started, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we ramp up. We change video for Hadron Club hosting us there inside Station 3. So we're going to have a lot of workshops for partners. We're going to have a demo day at the end, the Saturday, like a full afternoon and night of projects pitching and good workshops and good feedback, a lot of pizza too. So make sure to check that out. New York City Agent Camp by Dabl Club. And if you are there in New York, we're going to see ourselves next week. Hope you'll like it. And soon nearby your city too.
Fantastic, Mateus. It's great to see you're in the field efforts. I'm getting excited to watch your kickoff. We're all about to get real busy.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mel. We'll learn a lot for you, bro. I gotta watch more of these.
All right, Mel, go ahead.
Sweet. I was doing double sharing. Okay. So yes, this is like here, and we can dive deeper, but let's keep it. Here's more specific things that work towards the adapter. So please, if you want to dive deeper and see how they are doing it, we're not gonna go through this code because it's not relevant to what we are working on right now. At the end, what they're doing is just storing these recommendations to keep track of the performance. And so they do they need more information than what the default memory storage has, so they can evaluate if a trade needs to be executed or not. So that's why they use a more specific adapter for the database. For us, it's gonna be easier. We're gonna just copy these kind of recommendations and ask it to just store these recommendations up to this point, up to the recommendation manager. we're not gonna be doing anything else for the performance. And now we can use the Eliza logger. I hadn't seen it before, but that's a good one. So we can definitely, let's ask the LLM to create a trust. And so let's say create the friendship evaluator based on the trust.ts file. Please keep it simple. The agent should use the what we call them, friendship levels. We need to add that here from the friendship provider, social provider, and here it was friendship levels. Yeah, from the social provider, and use the previous 5 interactions to generate a friendship score record. The table should be, and I just want to see how they are naming the tables. I believe it's only lowercase. Yeah, table name. So it's no, it shouldn't be on lowercase. Camel case should be. So that's fine. We name friendship score and should have the latest. We should say and should update the existing friendship score with the latest social score obtained from the context injected by the social provider. Let's see if this works. Make it concise. I don't think it's gonna necessarily work because it's our first try, but let's see.
And I'm wondering, what's your interpretation of the context or like the quality of cursor when you're dealing with things so new, such as like agents and Farcaster plugins and these kind of relatively brand new kind of interactions?
It's tricky. Maybe it's a little bit more of my thinking. While I do see a future where we rely a lot more on AI, there's still a lot of like feeling and intuition of where the errors are happening, and this is something that probably will be improved a lot. That's true, but you still need this kind of understanding of all the moving pieces of the code to know, and also a lot of I guess experience, of course, but also experience with the prompt engineering. That's what I meant. Experience in the back and forth, and really start using it and see what works and what doesn't. I guess this is really gonna become like a subject. I don't know if it already is in school, but it really should. I mean, the interesting part is LLMs are so unpredictable right now. There's just a very small change on an input can generate a whole different response. So this is the tricky part, and that's where we need to really work in the testing and trying out and seeing what works with the LLMs. So
Got it.
How does it work? I mean, it's gonna do a lot of trial and error. It's gonna get frustrated, and if you don't know your way around whatever kind of code it is, it can be AI, can be math, can be physics, simulators. If you don't have good reference of what constitutes a good example of the code, that's why we're so relying so heavily on other examples. If you see, please use the context option. Otherwise, it's gonna be shooting like.
Otherwise, yeah, it has no idea what you're literally referencing. Then, Got it. Yeah, that's what ICE says too, is prompt engineering classes is going to be a big topic for the future as well.
Yes, for example, one thing here. I don't think this is a good example of interactions. So even though it works, it's throwing me the proper format. I know that this is not an interaction that I want this evaluator to be happening. This friendship evaluation, instead of social score, we should ask it to use the, and this is more like thinking, because the first thing that threw me off was like, okay, this provider, it's saying that, not the provider, it's the evaluator. So this evaluator here, they are saying that it's gonna be run whenever a user says social score 25. This is an interaction that's never gonna happen. So you need to understand, to detect easily, what is this action being or rather this property for this object, what is it used for? So because you're the developer, you're the builder, but the code doesn't necessarily know, unless you use the context. And for example, here will be please update the examples, follow the documentation from, and here I think I have indexed the ElizaOS docs. So you see, here's the way that you need to do. Please follow this information and update, but you need to know beforehand that things need to happen in certain ways. So yeah, that's a tricky part, and that's why, even though LLMs and AI tools are advancing fast, when one as a builder already feels like spots where this gets frustrating, and happened to me with Replit. You're working so hard to get it working to the level of comfort, which is the important part. I need to feel comfortable working on this. So you need to find what works for you in such a way that makes you feel comfortable when working, because otherwise, if you're not comfortable of the outputs, you're gonna get frustrated. And if you are not a builder that does this because this is what, solving these problems, it's like Sudoku. For me, Sudoku doesn't do a lot, but for some people, it really gets them going, and they are like very stimulated by it. If you're not like that with code, you need to make it as easy as possible for you. And this only happens by trial and error with LLMs, because right now there's no science for that.
That makes good sense. This is why I'm not a dangerous dev yet. Still can get confused and lost in it if you rely on these tools too much, as though they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think the examples are still being loaded like this. Maybe this helps. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But the important part is, from the evaluator, what's happening for us is on the handler, it's getting the state, and from this state, how is it getting the social score? So yeah, I don't think this is gonna work precisely, but let's see what happens. Maybe I can do the Eliza logger, log out the state, now that we know that the logger exists. So we just did the build. Let's redo the build. This is gonna be before closing. So we got that done, and now we start the character. And what else are we gonna do? We're gonna send the chat here, and hey, are you interested in crypto? It's running. Current social score 2. This is me. So apparently I got like bump. And okay, let's put on nothing, just interested in building on Polygon. Any recommendations? Yeah, just gonna find out here. You see, I'm getting more and more points. What I want to see if we get like a log for the. I don't think we're logging out the storage for this, but I want to see if this state gets called eventually, which I haven't seen. So we have the none here. Like Interstellar. Just watched it a couple of days ago for like the millionth time.
Yeah, in one full setting, huh?
Yeah, it's very good. I really like it. So yeah, it knows about it. So we're getting the scores out. That's good. The only thing that I'm not seeing is the state being logged out, which could be because of this. We didn't add it into the index. You know, these kind of things happen. This is the most usual one. This is for getting stuff.
Colin, what's Purple's social score?
She's gotten quite a few followers on Farcaster. Let me check her profile out, see how many followers she's. I mean, she's an internet sensation. It's an attention economy, and she's already got 86 followers.
Nice.
So it's pretty good. Yeah.
I can imagine an agent set up to interact with a dog via one of those button boards.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could probably design an agent for dogs. You can now use AI to determine what a dog is trying to communicate using their vocal sounds or a video of them. So there's an app for that and a model that you can use. So we could probably train an AI to respond to a dog, and so the dog barks and then the AI provides food, something like that. Totally feasible now. I think Purple, maybe the next agent camp can be hosted by Purple the dog, and she can lead all of these sessions.
I dig it. What'd you dump on us here, Mel?
This is the state.
Okay.
So this is the state properly. So you log that. That's why I said, "Wow, it's like a lot of stuff." But I see some messages here. That's nice. Some ones and zeros. But we are getting the social evaluations now. So now it's
really the challenge of like mapping all of this out, huh? Getting the evaluators and providers to give you the information you're actually looking for, to make determinations and store recommendations, and like now you're building the brain, the behavior.
Yeah, and I want to see if we can call like this. I mean, the easiest one would be to get this. How much time? Yeah, let's go 10 minutes. Generating this, escape. But I saw our evaluator being called there, so that means that it's working. And I don't think it's it throws too much stuff. We should definitely ask it to be more succinct and no more than, because this is a book every time.
That's that loudmouth trait.
Yeah. And okay, so very quickly, let's remove the log. So we see that the context is being created properly. And so we only need to remove the log here so we don't get all of that text being thrown our way. And let's create an action called get friendship level, TS. And let's see if we can get it to work just straight away. It's gonna be tricky, but
I believe in you.
It's address action. The address action is for the get wallet action, so that's like a reference on how to fetch information. But we needed to get the friendship scores and add them, and that's one thing that we didn't really review very very well here on the template, which I don't see. Okay, so that's a small thing. So the social score is getting stored just like this, gets stored as a memory to the friendship score. That's fine. That's fine. And okay, perfect. So I was just thinking of how it's getting stored. So every time there's like a new record being generated and being stored for the friendship manager. So we need to make sure to get all, or rather get the latest from the created app. We're gonna use this to get the latest score memory that the agent has generated for that user. That's one thing. And once we get that score memory, ideally, no, here's the tricky part.
Oh, this is the tricky part.
Yeah. Yes, because we need to start thinking, okay, how are we gonna, because we're storing the friendship score just from the social score data, but the social score data is just being logged like every time. So we actually need to get from the social provider, get this kind of, but this is already being put here. I'm just gonna ask it to run something. So let's ask it to please create a friendship score template. Use the recommendations information template as reference. It should extract the friendship score. It should add up all of the friendship scores and and return it as a JSON object with the average of the previous 20 conversations using the social score. This is where it gets like murky.
Come on, Cursor, you can do it.
I mean, the very fact that I had to incorporate like 2 scores, this is when you start detecting, no, my prompt is too complex. I'm not even sure I understand it as a builder.
That's probably a good first evaluation, huh?
Exactly. So this is the kind of, but it wasn't that bad. It already has some context. So, okay, average score, total interactions, that's fine. Let's see if it works. And I just need to make sure. Maybe that's fine. And here, we need to get what they were doing, what they were getting from the context. So this is the one that we need to process. But instead of should process, it should be here. And I'm not gonna generate like an object and all of that. That's more complexity. Let's just keep it simple. And here, before creating the memories, or before instantiating, let's see. Let's do our proper imports and the switches. Okay, recent scores instead of recent scores. That's fine, yeah. Let's see. So the only tricky, not the only tricky part, but the part that's like here, average score. What's the average score used for content? I don't like this one. So rather, this response should be this JSON object. So we do need to create the JSON object, the object array, but I think we're gonna need the deprecated one. Let's see if it doesn't start with these problems that we usually get from the build. Once you start, sorry, let me finish this because if not, I'm gonna finish my thought.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
Yeah. Okay. So here we were doing it here. Need to move to our friendship one. Okay, and here from the recent scores. No.
Our good friend Renee just showed up here into the room too. Renee, this is my Buffacorn hat from Eat Denver last year. So I'm always in my builder mode when you see the Buffacorn out.
And here, what's happening? Oh, no, but here we need the friendship score. And instead of this, we need to create the memories trust. Filter, cloud provider, no recommendations. Yeah, this is where they generate this. They store it on their own database. Not the recommendations. It should be stored somewhere. Recommendations.
You always do a good job of ending the show with the next Book of Worms.
Okay. Now I guess that's the thing. See, I wanted us to store the friendship scores
and
as
back up too, right? Because like literally, you just want to be able to ask the agent, "What's my friendship score?" And this is everything that's necessary to be able for it to give you the information that it's already processing internally.
Yes, exactly. Anyways, here what I'm gonna do, this should generate us this JSON, and the thing is, there's no like simple way for me to generate this object array from because we're not instructing it really what should be the generation of this object. Here it's very clear because they need to generate the object for recommendations. I guess we could just ask it to do it. Yeah, let's just work as an array. So I think it was something like this. JSON. Maybe that way we can have it more easily. No, this is. Oh, I was working on the wrong. Okay. Nothing big, just I was working on the wrong section, I guess. Okay. And instructions, recent scores, oh, perfect. Oh, so this was fine. This is a JSON, okay. And now we can generate the object from this context, perfect. And now we, instead of storing these memories, we're just going to friendship scores. This doesn't look. It's gonna accept it. It's accepting this kind of memory. Okay. And then trust one. Compose context template. From this context, these recommendations get generated. And this is the thing. This is why, okay. So this is. Okay, I guess we can just, yeah, let's hack this and see if it works. And if it doesn't, you can take another look. I'm just gonna look as messages because it's expecting a specific memory kind of type. And if we want to create memory, you can just add the 0 here. And if since it's any, then it should be able to let us know. Yeah, okay. The average score wasn't really needed. And we don't need this one either. Let's keep it like that in the meantime. Okay, just for testing.
Let's give it a shot. So now you created new actions, so you got to do the whole thing, huh?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the action. And here, let's generate the action.
Oh, we didn't even touch this yet. That's funny.
Get friendship level action. It should retrieve the friendship score from the database, and let's say use the friendship evaluator to as reference to obtain the friendship score from the database. Okay. Use the get address action as reference for building the action. Okay. Yeah, it took an extra 30 minutes. Thank you for staying with us. This is like the...
What's a good example? It's a good example of like what it looks like to go, oh, here's what I want to do. Hang on. And now how do you add these tools?
Exactly. And that's like, agents, there's been so much hype up around them, but really it's not until technically all of these actions are possible, yes. Well, when you start understanding all of the things that have to go through and all of the things that you need to take into account for the agent to just do a very simple action, it's not hard. It's just a little exhausting to be
well said.
Yeah, because it's very unexpected. It can be very unexpected what happens, and you also need the proper environment and the idea and people that also understand not only the idea but the technical side, and that's when it gets tricky to see like real real value and not just influencers, which is still valuable in a way, but we want to see more than that.
A lot of one-trick ponies out there right now in agent land, so it's very cool to see how you can build these actual interactions yourself. Shrudi's stoked. I'm just looking at the list. It's fun to read through, right? 11 today's session, very useful. Mini project idea in today's session alone. Railway, evaluator, database, privacy, uncontrolled context sharing, and last minute actions. So good job, Mel. You cram a lot of information into these.
Thank you. Super interested. It's already hard to do like multitasking, but then when it's in another language, it's like my brain freezes at moments.
Well, you're doing good.
Okay, just our last test. For some reason, I've been getting less points.
You're asking lots of questions. It's getting sick of all your question marks.
Yeah. Friendship level. Let's see if it gets executed. So at least our action looked like it was called, but we didn't get the response that we wanted. Like a proper...
the actual friendship level, yeah, the averaging and the crunching of it into one thing.
No, and it didn't even execute like the handler. Get facts. No, it's not executing the handler. Here it should like get friendship level. Here the action seems to be executed, but it's not the expected result. We wanted to have it. This is okay. So ideally on the handler we would. That's why. Okay. So maybe we need to do the callback. That's not how you call callback, but okay. And no, please, no callback. And we had it on one of these, I think, callback. Like this. This one is going to import it differently, and let's just say current shape level, and we should be able to get current level. But this one's from
that's the tiers.
Yeah, but I want to see where are we getting this from. And latest score, okay. Okay, it's revealed. PM build. Then we start our character, and let's see. We should have some interactions already, so it should have some scores for me. Let's just refresh just in case. This, just so it doesn't reload. Here are all of our latest social scores. Seems like it doesn't like to be asked for the friendship level. But yes, it's still not generating the proper handle. You know, the handler is not being called correctly. Here we see the handler being called, but I didn't get the callback. Get friendship level. Yeah, we need to do like further evaluation of this. Seems like it should just execute. Wait, what? So here's the callback, yeah. Establish friendship case in user without history. Maybe I can ask this, what's our friendship status? And it's a little bit more. And it will be like, what's our relationship status? Okay, in any case, I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, it's still kind of getting into the none. So there's probably something here that's blocking the response, even though I don't see any ignore or... Okay, I see no social scores found in context. Okay, that's good. Even though social score is being logged out properly, there's something between the communication and the evaluation. When I say the communication is here in the friendship here, we are not getting this social score detection. So even though we're logging it here, current social score, we are not adding it proper, the social score, which is the thing that the LLM is looking for. And rather we should be looking for the statuses, correct? Because the statuses are determined by the level. So one thing that we can definitely do is just selected message. We just put current friendship level. And here we can put level. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. And now the level scores, but it's not a okay, but it's a bad thing. I guess the level should be fine in the meantime. It's not gonna detect the social scores anymore, but maybe if it sees that the friendship level is being logged out very specifically, because then we will need to do on this friendship level, we will need to define the social score in the return object in a specific way so it gets detected by the here, because here's where it's not getting detected. We're not running a template here. The handler. Yes, it's being run here. There's no social scores being stored because we're not storing social scores. We're storing friendship scores. So now whenever it goes into the friendship evaluation, it's looking for the scores. You see, recent scores. So if there's no recent scores, it's not gonna work. So okay, we're gonna leave it there because if not, really, we can definitely keep going.
Oh, we could spend all day. Yeah, we could spend all day with things like this. I get it. It totally makes sense, and it's fun to try to chase these down. But yeah, this is the long part of the project.
Definitely. But anyways,
you've got not yet. Yeah,
it's not there.
Yeah, you're getting close. I get the intention though. That's the good part. It's like it makes sense to me that if you want to add a new action to an existing agent, here's the steps you have to go through. You got to set up all your references. You got to figure out how to incorporate everything, get everything pointing correctly. Lots of wires, lots of opportunities to get little tiny mistakes or bad references or something here. So yeah, this is simple in concept, complex in execution.
Exactly, and you see here we are getting the logout very clearly. That's where we're not working correctly. We're not like matching. The social score is being expected by the LLM. We're sending something else, even though we are calculating. Just a matter of refining our flow of data, which is really the tricky part. If you detect anything, it was the same with Farcaster. We know the data is there, but it's not that simple to tell the LLM to go and extract it in a very specific way.
Right.
So, but it's a matter of trial and error. More and more frameworks or best patterns, where best practices are gonna be developed, and of course, once we start creating more plugins, we're gonna see how X or Y things happen. It's a perfect opportunity to start setting the standards for how to think as a friend, how to make the agents evaluate if somebody's a good trader, if somebody's a builder. There's so many on-chain tools out there for us to experiment with, and yeah, that's part of what we want to see on the agent camp, on the hackathons, and of course on the grants. So think about it. And if you have an idea, come with us, because we will help you bring it down to a very achievable point, and with clear milestones and clear expectations and deliverables of what both parts can execute. You as a builder, Polygon as support, and us, the Dabl Club, as Dabl, helping you get there.
Makes perfect sense to me, Mel. Ears are wide open over here. So much information to share there. So let me run through those final links at the end. The biggest, most important one there is agentcamp.dev, right? And that's where you're going to have the resource kit for the aftercare follow-up. So we'll get the recording up there. I'll share a whole bunch of links that were referenced today as well. But just kind of pushing on those same drums that we've been hitting on. Polygon grants. You're learning about the tools that are applicable to at least 3 different AI-powered tracks that are available right now at polygon.technology/grants. We do have the survey up for Agent Camp, so tinyurl.com/lastagentsurvey. So that way we can get some of those ideas that you've been working on and building, see any of the workflow diagrams that you've produced, or even have links to the GitHubs or to the profiles on socials if you've got an agent live. Mark, I hope the Railway tutorial covered your particular issues. I'll follow up with you in email and we'll see if we can get that sorted for you, but I bet it has. If you're headed to Denver at the end of the month, it's going to be here before you know it. It's like, what, 3 weeks now, Mel? It's going to be here fast. So tinyurl.com/agcave, AGGCAVE, and you'll figure out where the Ag Cave's happening. That's where Dabl Club's going to be on the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th. So we hope to see anybody making the trek to Denver there in person. If you have any questions that you want to follow up in real time, you want to reach out to myself, to Colin, to Mateus, or Mel, or any of the other dabblers in our rapidly growing community, it's going to be dabl.chat, and you'll dive right into our Telegram where you can find all of us. I live in there, so you can just hit us up with any questions, concerns, thoughts, and ideas. We'll be able to follow up with you on that kind of stuff. And then just last but not least, agentcamp.dev, that is the follow-up. And then actually, Shruti has a question here. I bet we can see if we can tackle this one real quick, Mel, and end on a good point there. So I have a question. I don't know if it's already covered in the previous session. I mean, he may be hallucinating. But how do we make characters talk to each other? Is that kind of deep water there? That's a kind of something for a different day.
It's not too hard. The easiest one, or at least the one that I have done, is on Discord, putting them on the same channel. And the bad thing is they ran out of $40 of credits or something like that in one night. So just be careful.
Mindful of how much they consume.
Yeah, turn them off or just kill the API token, whatever. Just make sure to keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's about creating this infra. I know there's people talking about backrooms, and ChatGPT has this swarms option that I haven't explored, honestly. I think it's also for the most expensive license, which I'm not willing to pay. $200 a month. It's
heavy right now.
And so it's also like you could create these channels, like it's just a chat. This is one of the things that Replit can probably create for you. Like, I just go to the agents and ask for a chat application, ideally on JavaScript, so or whatever language you're comfortable in. And from there, once you can create these webhooks and enable these chat rooms that you can connect the APIs to, that's the way you connect with agents, is an API endpoint with the agent's ID and the room ID. And there are ways to get this information from the API itself. And that's where you start sending the responses. So that's how the agent understands. It's not very hard to do it. Just a matter of exploring the like I said, the client from Bit, the one that we've been using. That's a good starting point on how they get the API, how the endpoint, how they get the room ID, how they get the agent ID. And that way you can start creating these backrooms yourself. This is something that Infinite Region is exploring, creating key opinion leaders and have them, like a Vitalik, talk to a Kevin Owocki, and then talk to a Griff. And between them, design the best capital allocation strategies. Does this work? Is it gonna be useful? Who knows? Like that's what we want to find out. How far can we stretch the limits of the agents and the LLMs? That's why we're spending so much money, which apparently shouldn't be spent. LLMs with the DeepSeek FUD and all of that. But if we have them already, and people are using them to get like dumb stuff, that's the kind of things we need to do. Explore what's the limit of these LLMs and these agents to test our imagination. That's pretty much it. See if they're crazy ideas, let's bring them in and see if they work. I couldn't say it another way.
Let's grab Colin up here real quick, and we'll do our sign off, and just thank everyone for being here with us today.
Thank you guys for joining us. I'm hosting a co-working session right now. If you're in San Francisco, this is your call out. I'm over at Homebrew. The address is 1481 Folsom Street. Come on by. Just hosting a co-working session. We'll be also hosting San Francisco-based Agent Camp meetups. So excited. If you want to bring Agent Camp to your city and you have a co-working space, we would love to work with you. Reach out to me and we can set up an Agent Camp. Kale runs our guild system. So we have leaders in over 100 different cities around the world. And we're really excited to expand this year. We've got over 50,000 members. So if you do an event with us, you'll get that invite will go out to 50,000 people around the world. So it's great to do events that are online, but we also like to connect in person. So if you're in a city and you think you can get some people together, we'd love to do an Agent Camp in your hometown. And we can video call in, or we can find, or if you are ready to teach, we can skill you up as a Dabl Club member and an Agent Camp mentor. Don't forget to go hack in the hackathon. The ETH Global Hackathon is going on right now, and ETH Denver is coming up quickly. And you'll also see some invites for me for SF-based hackathons in San Francisco and an Agent Camp in New York coming up, as well as Agent Camp Denver. So lots of new Agent Camps to keep going. There'll be some repeated content, but we'll try to make sure you know what's coming on for the next show. And we'll be organizing Demo Day. So lots of new events to send out. So please don't flag us as spam. Invite your friends, and let's keep it going.
Nice. All right, Bill. So let's end it on a good note here. You provided tons of resources and information today. What do you want to leave them with as your parting thoughts?
Just make sure to stay up to date with the deliverables. We'll be sharing out the deliverable, the last one for. We were thinking about this Sunday. Yes, we'll see how we are in your how you are rather. So if you're having any issues, fill out that form that we will be sending. Share your GitHub, share your issue or in which step you are at. Doesn't matter which step you're at. We want to know and want to support. So please make sure to follow our surveys. And just let's keep. Thanks, Shirley. Let's keep building and let's keep exploring. And definitely, IRL, what's coming? Join NYC next week. SF, even if you're right now. I know it's short notice, but join these kind of opportunities. If you're gonna be at Denver, or if you want to do something in your cities, please listen to us and take this. We want to help you, we want to support you. So just reach out. Don't miss this opportunity.
I like it. All right, friends, there you go. Last Agent Survey, tinyurl.com/last agent survey. Fill out the diagram. Let us know where the status and progress of your current agent build is. If you've got any blockers or hangups, just reach out to us. Mel's going to help you get over the finish line. We'll get these things turned in. Again, I'm Kale, community manager at Dabl Club. We appreciate everybody's attention and time hanging out with us today. We look forward to the next Agent Camp opportunity to get you upskilled and see what you guys are going to build. Keep dabbling, friends.